All right. Well, thanks everyone for coming and being part of this sixth dYdX community town hall. This one's really going to be specifically focusing around the kind of dYdX chain and the recent announcements. So it's great to see some familiar faces and some new faces coming in to the town halls. There's been some exciting announcements that have happened over the past few days, as everyone's seen. There's been some exciting announcements over the past weeks and months from all teams in the dYdX ecosystem. So really excited that we can continually discuss the progression happening here with everyone, and share that with the broader kind of dYdX ecosystem. To the newbies of this town hall, really just an overview of how this is usually structured. We usually have stakeholders in the dYdX ecosystem come up and present some of the recent activity they've been involved with. This usually lasts for around 5 or 10 minutes of the discussion from their end, and we normally have around 5 or 10 teams or individuals on here. Today will be a little bit different. It's mainly going to be almost kind of announcement driven with key stakeholders from dYdX Trading, the dYdX Operations subDAO, and the dYdX Foundation. We saw Trading announce the dYdX Chain v1.0 software release, and the dYdX Operations subDAO announced Genesis and the potential steps here. So we're all excited to hear more about this today from the team. So this week we have Nathan Char, who leads marketing at dYdX Trading, really a first to the town hall, who will share some of the insights behind the workings of the dYdX Trading team. We have Valentin and Dimitar, who by now, I assume most of you who are aware of. They've been active in the dYdX ecosystem for the past few months. They've recently posted a video about their role in the ecosystem, and I'm sure it will become clear by the end of this town hall of the kind of impact that they'll have. And we'll also be finishing off with Charles Dorsey, the CEO of the dYdX Foundation, who will talk through the foundation's recent events and some key initiatives and things to watch out for during this important time period. So just really quickly, lastly, a few bits of housekeeping. Keep the questions in the Q&A and chat on topic. I'll pay attention to these as the town hall progresses, and I can direct them to the appropriate team. And we'll do our best to stick to the kind of 5 to 10 minutes per team and move swiftly through the kind of the audience here. Lastly, again, the cadence is going to be monthly. We're committed to sort of driving these events, and equally happy for any community member who wants to participate and assist with kind of organizing or being a part of these town halls. Okay, so first up, it's Nathan from dYdX Trading. Over to you, Nate.
Yeah, thanks for having me, everybody. Obviously, it's been quite a few exciting weeks in the past month as we've kind of prepped for the open source release. So yesterday was the official open source release of the dYdX chain software. This is a huge step for us at dYdX Trading in terms of decentralizing the entire protocol. So for the past few weeks, we've been running the testnet with great success. We've had lots of traders that have tested out the flow, looked for product bugs, experimented with the flow and on onboarding, as well as placing trades. And throughout the past few weeks in the background, we've run audits as well as fine-tuned the actual code itself to the point where we felt very confident that everything is ready now. Why does this matter? This will be the first time, I think, in history when it comes to crypto that a protocol of our scale will truly decentralize to its purest form. In the past, dYdX Trading has basically run a hybrid type of DEX. So while we've been decentralized in the sense that we're not custodial, there's governance votes that dictate some of the process behind the dYdX ecosystem. There are also some centralized components, like the order book was managed by dYdX Trading. There was also stuff in terms of the backend where we would kind of dictate what would actually get added to the protocol. So what new product features would get added. This will fundamentally change now. In case you don't already know, dYdX Trading will not run any of the infrastructure behind dYdX v4 or the dYdX chain. So now that we've open source released everything, now it's up to third parties in the ecosystem, whether it's validators, whether it's the operations subDAO, to kind of take the point now, or take the lead rather, on how everything operates from here. So obviously we're very excited about this, since this is a huge milestone moment, not just for dYdX, but also the ecosystem of DeFi as a whole. Beyond that, we also announced last week that dYdX Trading has officially changed its company charter. So now, instead of being a C corporation, we're a public benefit corporation. This basically just means from a corporate standpoint, trading is becoming more aligned with the ethos of DeFi as well. So previously, as a C corporation, we're more beholden to stakeholders, stockholders who had invested, like VCs, in dYdX trading. But now with the charter change, what this basically means is that we can remain more committed to public benefits, or as a whole, DeFi and its core tenets. So non-custodial, open access, censorship resistance, that becomes more of our priority. In line with this, we've made it very clear over the last few weeks that dYdX trading will collect no fees from the dYdX chain. So we've casually been promoting this narrative and publicizing this over time. But why this matters is that, unlike what you might have seen from Uniswap a few weeks ago, where they're raising fees, not only are fees getting significantly reduced on dYdX V4, but dYdX trading is not going to collect any of this. So all of this revenue that comes in goes towards third parties that are behind the infrastructure of the dYdX chain. So I would look forward to more communications moving forward from the parties that are actually operating the dYdX chain. But a lot's going to change as we move forward. So what is our focus at dYdX trading moving forward? Obviously, as everything kind of gets set up, we'll keep an open eye on any third parties that need assistance, and we can provide counsel since we are the ones that wrote all this code and built this software. But our priorities really moving forward are to make sure that execution goes as smoothly and as securely as possible. So where we can help out, we will try our very best. As people start actually moving size on dYdX chain over the next few months, we'll keep an eye out to make sure that everything's up to the standard that we've already established. Some people have told us that we're the gold standard in DeFi in terms of security and stability. We've already made it very clear that throughput's going to increase significantly on the dYdX chain, but can we make sure that people can feel secure about their assets on the chain, that when they place trades, there's no risks in terms of the software or hacks? That's something that we'll be very vigilant about because we've built a very strong brand over the last few years, and we want to maintain that and improve that over time as our protocol decentralizes and the technology fundamentally changes. So I don't want to take too much time today. I'm sure the Operation subDAO and Foundation stakeholders have quite a lot of news on their end to share as well. But thank you for all your support over the last few years. Yesterday was a huge milestone moment for us, but I think that there's a lot more to come over the next few weeks and months. And we're just very excited to join and partake in this journey with the rest of the ecosystem.
Nate, thank you very much for coming on and explaining that. That's super helpful. And yeah, congratulations on that huge milestone. Tris, let's move on, please, over towards Dimmy in the Operation subDAO.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Nate. Thanks, James. I'll be building a little on top of what Nathan just said. The overarching goal is to have a fully decentralized protocol, and we'll actually need infrastructure run in a community setup. This is one of the goals for the Operation subDAO. We are a team of about 10 people. It's actually the second mandate of the subDAO. That is for 18 months. We are already 4 months into that mandate. And the goal of the subDAO is first to run an indexer and front end, a community-owned version of these, and to also help coordinate the genesis of the dYdX chain. And we're going to focus now on this last bit, which is coordinating the genesis. We are suggesting or proposing to validators that were participating in the public testnet to have a genesis tomorrow, which is 26th of October. The information is already public in one of our GitHub repositories. The genesis date is 26th, as I just said. Our goal is to have a smooth genesis, to have a smooth chain launch. That's why we approached 25 or 30 validators from the public testnet, and we suggested that they join us in this journey. 25 reached and prepared the dYdX transactions, so they are, I think, ready to start the chain as soon as the timestamp is hit. The chain is going to be operational, or will be building blocks right away, but we don't think it will be fully functional in the beginning. We do need to build some stake in it. We do need to secure it. This is a proof of stake chain, so it does need some stake bridged over and bonded so that the chain is secure. So the initial stage of the chain will be alpha phase with limited trading functionalities. We will then progress to enabling some, or with no trading functionalities, we'll then progress to enabling some limited trading functionalities in the beta stage. And after that, we'll move to a full production chain. Of course, all these steps are dependent on, first of all, on successful Genesis. So, and of course, having a public bridge to actually bridge token solver. So I think it's time for us to focus a little more on the alpha phase. Chris, can you move over? Awesome, thank you. Now, right after Genesis, we will put the focus more, or we would like the focus to be more on securing the chain. To reiterate, it's a proof of stake chain, which means that the more native dYdX token that gets staked or bonded, the more stable the chain is. And this is going to be our focus, or this is going to be what we suggest happens in the community. The operation subDAO will be testing the UI for bridging in the first days. We would like to not have the UI live right away, because it's a bridge after all, and bridges are kind of notorious. So we want this to be tested. We want this to be ready for going live in the upcoming days. We'll of course follow up with communication pieces about the exact dates as soon as we are confident with them. The end of alpha phase will be when there's going to be a community vote to actually enable the activate the markets for trading, which means that we'll enter a phase where, it will exit the stage of building stake and bridging, and enter the phase of enabling some limited beta trading. This is to be defined. Not exactly, we cannot exactly pinpoint the date for this. So it's something that the community will have to vote on, and we will be providing the lens or our overview on the chain parameters as we go. So next after the alpha is the beta stage. Again, now it's time to have limited trading, to actually fully test in a production, or fully verify in production that trading is working as we expect. We don't expect any issues there, of course, but it's a new product. It has to be battle tested. In this stage, what we mean by limited trading is that it's, of course, all functionalities will be there. This has already been tested on public testnet, but there will be no trading rewards enabled yet, or rather, this is something that, again, the community will have to vote on, and will have to decide when the chain is ready to move into the next stage, which is full production. Timeline, TBD. We cannot say right now how alpha will progress. We cannot say how beta will progress. It's something that, well, we'll have to observe and see. And yeah, let's jump into the last stage, which is trading functionalities, or full trading. The core here is that we will see trading rewards enabled. This for us in the subDAO means that this is the full functionality trading, or all full trading, full production chain version. We expect, or we potentially see that this is going to happen sometime end of November, but again, it depends on smooth alpha and beta phases. And yes, I think this is the high level overview on the timelines for what's ahead of us, or at least how the subDAO sees it. It's a permissionless chain, so it's up to the community and to validators to actually make it live.
Perfect. Thanks, Dim. Just to take it a little bit back to the Genesis date. So you mentioned Genesis will be tomorrow, the 26th of October. The alpha phase then is going to be a little bit after this phase. I take it, based on that slide, that DOS, the dYdX operation subDAO, will announce the kind of timings for that shortly after.
Yes. Our goal is to have our timings ready as soon as the Genesis is successful. So we will come with some. We'll communicate about it by the end of the week, what the next steps are, and when we expect to see actually the bridge UI deployed in live. Brilliant.
So just confirming,
yes,
after Genesis and during the alpha phase, there's going to be no trading.
True that, no trading.
Got you. And then the alpha stage, is potentially allowing the dYdX community to bridge and stake their tokens if they choose to, and stake the validators.
Which is a, again, proof of stake chain, so we do need that, so that the chain needs to get bonded tokens into it, and this is the focus for this alpha phase.
Brilliant. And then to progress from the alpha to beta is dependent on a governance vote and the kind of number of staked dYdX tokens amongst other factors.
Absolutely. And it's, again, it's a governance vote, so it's something that the community will have to decide if they agree should happen or not.
Brilliant.
Or the token holders, yes.
And then the community decide that they want to progress to beta. Beta then is sort of like limited trading functionalities in the sense you're testing, making sure it's, you know, stable and secure, all the trading functionalities are there. And then
yes,
providing you're happy with that.
There are no chain upgrades that are going to actually differentiate between the phases. No protocol upgrades that we consider will be the border between phases. However, it will be community votes that transition between phases. And yes, beta phases, we do bit limited trading because, well, we first of all expect the volume not to be full at the time, trading volume, and second, there will not be trading rewards. So the end of beta is when trading rewards should become a thing.
Okay. Fantastic. And then transitioning out of the beta then additionally requires a governance vote by the dYdX community.
Yes, exactly. It's not something that we or someone else will enforce. It's again up to the community to, or the governance vote to pass for this to happen.
Brilliant. And just confirming that this is all on like dYdX chain governance. This is all on V4 governance.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. V4 governance.
Okay.
It is chain parameters, yes.
That's really helpful. Hopefully everyone understands that. Feel free to post in the chat if you don't. And then just a quick one that I've noticed about the validator set. So from Brightly Stake, when will the validator set be permissionless in a sense?
Well, it is permissionless from the beginning, right? The question is, when will a certain validator have tokens to self-delegate or tokens to delegate so that they can actually join the active set? And that's more bound to the question about the UI for the bridge, right? I mean, the bridge contracts are out there. They are public. I think Foundation did a lot of communication about that. So now the question is when validators can use them to actually bridge tokens over. And our suggestion here is actually to wait for the UI, because this is something that's going to be less error prone for bridging. So to wait for the UI, bridge over, wait for the tokens to actually become credited in the dYdX chain accounts, because there is a delay between the bridging on Ethereum and when the tokens become live, and it's a parameter of the chain itself. It's for security purposes. It's around 40 hours. So there is some delay there as well. It's something that validators can, or entities that bridge should be aware of. Best way is actually to wait for the UI and wait for some documentation coming out on this.
Okay, brilliant. And then just confirming, sorry for the questions, my end. The dYdX operations subDAO will be deploying like their version of the bridge. Okay, and an announcement will be made.
Announcement will be made by the end of the week.
Okay.
When the bridge should be live, yes.
Okay, makes sense.
And again, it depends on we do want to test that bridge UI before we make it public. So make sure the announcement accommodates the opportunity for us to test it.
Fantastic. No, that's super clear. If anyone has any questions, yeah, feel free to put in the Q&A. Dim, Nath, if there's any questions there that you can answer, feel free to answer them. Cool. Thanks, Dimitar. I really appreciate that. Exciting times. Best of luck as well tomorrow.
Thanks, James.
Brilliant. Chris, if you wouldn't mind moving to the next slide. Charles, over to you.
Excellent. Thank you, James. Nate, Dimitar, thanks for this update. It's really exciting and great to see that all the hard work from your respective team are getting into fruitations, and the dYdX chain is really around the corner. A few updates from the dYdX Foundation. Many of us have met with ecosystem players during Cosmoverse in Istanbul a few weeks ago. We also organized and we had really a lot of fun during dYdX Connect. dYdX Connects are events organized by the dYdX Foundation for builders with dYdX. So a lot of validators, a lot of providers from the dYdX grantees were there. So it was really great to spend some time in real life together and have a great morning. So I think everyone have vivid memories and stay on standby for the next editions of dYdX Connect. We're going to try to essentially bring dYdX Connect events that are the closest we can from to you, organizing them around core events within core markets. So that's really on the dYdX and Cosmoverse side of things. Really exciting also about the open sourcing of the public bridge, which will be happening in a few days as well. So the foundation will be open sourcing the public bridge. So the codes, UI, and people will be able to deploy this bridge if they want to, or if they have an appetite for that. So we expect several bridge partners to deploy bridges. Please do your own research. Be aware that we might have some possibly some scams or some phishing happening. So don't rush. Do your own research. Double check whatever is coming your way. It's better to be a little bit patient and do some testing the same way Dimitar was describing a period where tests will be made. The same should be happening. So when we work in open source software as we are within the ecosystem of dYdX, it means many people can essentially leverage this open source code and deploy it in different ways and sometimes in bad ways. So really a call from the foundation and from the ecosystem overall. Do your own research and be skeptical whenever you find things which are too good or too fast or too easy to be good. Documentation is coming also on the dYdX Foundation website. So some of you might have noticed that the dYdX Foundation has a new website, which we've been working on. So kudos to the team involved with that. And we will be essentially, as soon as there is information made available by different builders or counterparties within the ecosystem, we will try to bring some ups and essentially becoming a hub for anyone starting their journeys within the dYdX ecosystem. Should you be a validator, someone who wants to integrate or maybe leverage the platform in different ways, we hope at the foundation to give you first an initial guidance and links to the multiple set of documentations available within the ecosystem. So pay a visit to the website and come over the coming weeks. Several times we will update with everything coming from the ecosystem. The foundation will be as active and even more active as it is today after the Genesis. We are excited as much as all of us are about the dYdX upcoming chain. It comes with a lot of new opportunities to redeploy and refocus our team at the dYdX Foundation, which is essentially about 20 people. So reactivating GTM, reactivating branding in multiple markets, in multiple languages, to make sure that dYdX remain the leader in the market and solidify and grow its position in the DeFi and the derivative trading market. So a lot of work on our way regarding enabling and activating decentralized governance with the people involved, working on go-to-market, working also on user supports, as well as branding and communications in general. So we are really energized and excited to be starting this new chapter with the dYdX chain. We're working as well with a lot of the validators to make sure that everyone from the ecosystem overall, should they be stakers or traders, are aware of the multiple talented teams which are creating the dYdX chain all together, and making sure that they get access, they get also a kind of some light and some attention from all the parties aware. I have some call for actions for you guys, if that's okay. The operation subDAO is I just announced the Genesis, so this is super exciting. please relay this messaging to your social media networks, to whoever you know, which should be aware of the progress the dYdX ecosystem is doing. We have multiple parties co-building dYdX right now, and it's important that we all support these teams, and the operation subDAO is one of them. Please also make the time to read the blog post from the Ops subDAO about the alpha period, the beta period. It was very well explained by Dimitar a few minutes ago, but that's very important for us to kind of project ourselves within the upcoming weeks. Not everything will be happening in a clap of a finger. There is really a sequence of events which is described by people involved with the dYdX chain genesis and kind of scale up. So pay attention and help us educate also the market in general. Same thing applies for bridging and staking. There is a windows when these kind of activities will be open, and later on, people will be able to stake as well. So really join us for educating and explaining that. We as the foundation will be doing maximum efforts to activate these messages and kind of spread them with media partners and community events. But each of your contribution will be certainly helping quite a lot. And the last one is again the potential scams coming our way. As I mentioned, open sourcing means that a lot of the code is available to different people, and we want to keep the ecosystem as safe and pleasant as possible. So join us into educating, join us into signaling whenever you see scams to the community, so that we can get those scams down when we can, and keep everyone safe. But very exciting time. I think we can really enjoy the coming weeks. We are all making history here in the world of crypto and DeFi, and we should be proud of that. So I look forward to the upcoming weeks, months, and years of the dYdX chain. Thank you. Back to you, James.
Thank you, Charles. Super helpful. Fantastic. Okay, Tris, let's move on. I think that's the last slide. So I guess now anyone on the panel, there are some Q&As that have come up and some in the chat. Feel free to jump in first, Dim, if you want, and then we can sort of end on the trading side.
Yeah, thanks. So there was a question on how can people see validators for Genesis? Well, that's in the Genesis file. You can look up our dYdX ops DAO GitHub, and you can check the Genesis file there. It's in the networks repository. It's also Tristan shared the Vercel documentation. You can have a look at it as well and check the Genesis file. Victor Danzaki just asked about dApps on top of the chain. This is actually aligned with the alpha to beta transition. One of the mandates for the subDAO is actually to operate a front end and an indexer on top of the chain. So the front end is basically an exchange app. We are planning on having an iOS app and a web app and also Android app down the line. There's no point in us deploying those publicly or community-owned front ends until trading is enabled by the community via governance vote. So during the alpha phase, there will be no exchanges or web apps deployed. We'll align the deployment with the community vote. So once we see the vote and once we know the deadline of the vote, we'll just schedule our deployment there to have the app ready as soon as beta stage starts.
Awesome. Thanks, Dim. Just having a look, see if there's anything else on the ops side that you could potentially answer. Cool. I've talked with several teams about this, but we need to provide better support. Ops DAO, any news on the kind of support side or the JD and the role that he posted live?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so this one came in from Luis. They've talked to several people about this, but dYdX needs better support. Ops DAO, any news on that?
Well, I don't have any news right now for the support function. So this is something that we'll try to make public as soon as possible.
Brilliant.
Yes, just for context, we have been working hard in the last couple of weeks to kind of support what is coming in the next couple of days, and we'll focus on that topic after hopefully successful Genesis tomorrow.
Fantastic. Thanks, Val. Cool. All right, Nath, maybe one's for you. At trading, how are you planning to get involved, if so, in sort of DAO governance and operations going forward?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely will not be playing a super active role in the sense of like taking the charge on this type of stuff. I think that would go kind of antithetical to what DeFi is supposed to be, right? Like I mentioned earlier, dYdX trading is not going to be involved in operating any of the dYdX chain moving forward. So no validator, no indexer, no front end. We're not operating the order book or managing that either. That's all done through third parties that gossip with each other. So yeah, I mean, I guess from the sense that we've kind of built and open sourced this code and we've been working on dYdX for the past however many years, we probably have the most insight into historical issues we've had, context around decisions made on how to build things or why we've written code certain ways. So I'm sure in terms of consulting and providing feedback on proposed governance changes, we will be active in those forums maybe. And I assume as people request upgrades, we would probably be involved in that as well, right? I mean, it's all open source, so technically anyone can build on top of the dYdX chain and fork it and do as they please. But at the end of the day, I do think our engineering team is first in class and the best of the best, which is why we've done all this work. So if governance decides, hey, we want this new feature added, we would like dYdX trading to build it, then obviously we will do that. But I don't want to give this preconceived misconception that dYdX trading is kind of pulling the strings or anything. Like, we're very minimally involved in any of the operations at this point, and that was very intentional. You're only as decentralized as your least centralized component, is what we always say. So if dYdX trading is in the background running and operating all this stuff, then we're not actually decentralized. So from that standpoint, we will be far less involved than we have been in the past.
Awesome. Thanks for clarifying. And then this one, which has been asked, I know, a number of times, but how long will traders like get to potentially close their positions on V3? Will it run in tandem for a foreseeable future? What are the kind of plans on the sort of V3 software side?
Yeah, to all the traders, thank you for coming today. We will not be making you shut down your positions anytime soon. That's just a horrible trading experience, especially if you're trading size. So we will run V3 and V4 concurrently for the foreseeable future. We don't really have a firm timeline set on when we'll shut down V3 just yet. It kind of depends on how everything goes with the actual launch of the dYdX chain and how trading starts working out between the beta period and further. So yeah, I would keep an eye out. We will be as transparent and forward with you guys as possible in terms of intentions there. But for at least the next few months, if not half a year, like, we do not plan to shut down V3. So you can keep trading as normal. We will see what happens with liquidity as V4 opens up as well, because I assume liquidity will become somewhat fragmented between the two chain, the dYdX chain and the existing V3. But yeah, you have nothing to worry about on that end.
Awesome. And then last one, Nath, really is a combination of these few questions, some on permissionless markets, some on different types of role trading plays. I guess, what are some of the things trading view as kind of these next kind of 10x product improvements, and what are some of the things you guys are looking forward to kind of working on in the future there?
Yeah, definitely. So we're thinking very consciously at this point. dYdX has over 50% of derivatives market share within the DEX space. So arguably, we've already won in terms of DEXs. So how do we kind of carve out market share from centralized exchanges, improve the product experience to the point where you would rather trade on a DEX over a centralized exchange? And one of those things is obviously permissionless markets. So for those who don't know, the new zeitgeist in crypto these days is that a new hot altcoin pops up and you trade it because there's so much volatility, so much movement, lots of liquidity. So a few months ago, that was Pepe. But there's lots of new altcoins that pop up. But there's usually a lag time between an altcoin popping up and a perps market popping up for that altcoin. And that lag time usually looks like about a month, if not longer. So is there a way in which we can list that faster so you can trade derivatives on the coins that you want to and trade markets that you don't have access to normally at a faster pace, but also do that in a way that's safe, transparent, has enough liquidity so you can actually place the trades and fill them in the way that you need to, and execute your strategies, that's something that we're actively working on researching. How do we make that happen? And part of being permissionless means that we don't have to be the ones to propose that those markets get listed. Technically, anyone can market make and provide liquidity and bootstrap liquidity for those markets. So we look forward to providing more thought leadership and research on that front within the next few months as the chain kind of launches and everything goes live. The other thing I saw was a question on MEV. So that's something that a lot of DEXs haven't actually truly solved, is this problem, right? Can people front run orders and do malicious behavior as a validator? So for the testnet, we had a limited set of validators just because we vetted everyone and kind of made sure that they were reliable, because there's going to be bugs that always happen on any testnet. There's going to be issues that we have to work through. Can we make sure that the validator set, if we don't incentivize them, actually actively participates? So for the testnet phase, we had around 60-ish validators. But as the chain goes live, as Dimitar mentioned, we're not going to gatekeep anyone anymore. Everything becomes permissionless, and that's very intentional because we're decentralized, right? But part of that means that we have to do our due diligence in terms of MEV. So no one wants us to be the bad cop that kind of enforces and kicks validators off the network, because at that point, again, we're not really decentralized, right? But the happy medium here is to provide data to everyone in the ecosystem as to, hey, these validators might be engaging in behavior that is not favorable or not necessarily transparent. So we've published a lot of thought leadership and research on this already. If you go to dYdX.exchange/blog, you will see lots of articles that we've posted about our MEV solutions in partnership with firms that are specifically dedicated towards MEV, like Chorus One or Kepler, who's behind our dashboard. So what we've basically enabled so far is social listening almost, or a community buy-in in terms of social axing of validators. So we've publicized all this data through the course of skip protocol is another one I see in the chat, that basically broadcasts information about, hey, this validator in the testnet has been doing some behavior that is suspect, might be front running orders. And dYdX trading actually ran a fake validator in the validator set that was engaging in MEV behavior, and our metrics were all getting captured by this dashboard. So that's step one. Over time, we want to build a more robust solution to MEV as well. So something that is not just based on social parameters so that people in the community can ask validators, but something that's native to the code as well and native to the dYdX chain software. So that's something that on a longer term horizon, we plan to keep working on. We have a research team dedicated to this at dYdX Trading. So this is the type of stuff that we will be working on in terms of operations, I guess you could say. In the background, we'll come up with solutions, propose them, and if the community buys them, then we can execute on them. But yeah, I would highly encourage everyone that's interested in MEV to go to dYdX's blog, because we've published quite a few articles on this in partnership with these other protocols, and I think that it is very transparent in terms of what we built so far.
Awesome. Thanks, Nate. And yeah, just confirming, there's a post that went up, I think, by Reverie yesterday on social slashing. So I would encourage everyone to go on the dYdX forum, engage in that discussion. And there's a number of comments already from a number of people who are part of this webinar chat already. So thanks for engaging there. And yeah, would encourage the rest of you to have a look at that as well. Cool. I think that is it. I think we can finish off there. Nathan, Dimitar, Val, Charles, thank you very much. Just to recap and confirm, Genesis 26th, alpha period is going to start from DOS. That is going to post an announcement by the end of this week. Fantastic. That will go on for a period of time until sufficient stake. There'll be a governance vote by a dYdX community member to transition from the alpha to beta and beta to full trading.
Exactly.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks everyone in the audience for coming in and answering and asking all those great questions. Until next time, guys. And yeah, really excited for the end of this week and the next few weeks ahead. Thanks for your time. See you, everyone.
Everyone.
Cheers.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.